Are you ready to learn to get rid of stress in your life? To learn how to deal with the emotional turmoil that causes strokes, heart attacks, bad health, and even weight gain? Life-changing habits for work, family, and everyone you deal with start here with Andrew Wittman. It's time to get warrior tough. Here's Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman.
All right, it's time to get warrior tough, the most monumental hour in media anywhere. We're your leadership and mental toughness coaches, Andrew Wittman and the Dutch Coleman.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, buddy. How you doing, handsome?
I'm doing good, man.
I had a theory before the show that when you first came up on my Skype tonight, and I was like, holy smoke, you're not only just the most interesting man in the world, you're the most handsome man in the world. That's what happened to the DeSecchi's guy. He got fired because Dutch Coleman is out there.
Hey, I wish, man. I appreciate it, but I wish. I heard they were hiring a new guy sometime in the past few days or so, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's like a whole campaign about who's the new guy. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Is it you? Could you let us know? Could you tell us beforehand, or you signed a confidentiality agreement? You can't let the cat out of the bag before.
I tell you what, if it were me, myself, or anybody I knew, I would have probably let the cat out of the bag.
All right. If you want to join the conversation on the Twitter, use the hashtag #GetWarriorTough. You can find Dutch at the Dutch Coleman. I'm at WarriorToughPhD. Please go to the website, getwarriortough.com, register, get the free ebook, sign up for the newsletter, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, hook up with us on LinkedIn, the Facebook page, get the app. There's like 1,000,001 ways to download our stuff, Dutch, and be in touch with us like 24/7, man.
Oh yeah, in today's world, man, there's I don't think you can lose anybody at any time. So the difference is we're here for you. We're not trying to hide. Get at us anytime.
Yeah, and that we put ourselves out there. We got thick skin. We take some heat sometimes, but it's all good because we are in it for you. We're in it so that you have a better life. And Dutch, tonight I'm really excited because we're going to talk about pressure proofing. And one of the biggest things that you and I hear on the road is here's like the biggest problems, because we'll ask people this. I'll say, what's the thing that keeps you awake at night? What are the three biggest problems that if you solved those problems that your life would just take it to another level? It'd be awesome. One of them is time management. One is organization. But I think the top one is stress and pressure. The stresses and pressures of juggling work and personal life and all the bills and all the stuff that goes with just living life. And how do you pressure proof?
Yeah, absolutely. Stress is universal. I can name there's a number of things I can name that can apply to a number of different things. And people may, I don't really deal with this. I don't really. That's not really a factor. Stress is probably one of the few things that goes across the board because it has so many shapes, so many forms, so many variables associated with it that all boil down to some sort of stress. That's the one that everyone's shaking their head when it's mentioned.
Right. So how can we inoculate ourselves is the thing. So you and I are going to talk about now. There's more than just these five. We'll try to get through 5 of them tonight because you know how you and I wax eloquent on these tools. But there's five areas, 5 tools that we teach on how to pressure proof and inoculate yourself against pressure. And so we'll see if we can get through all 5 of them. If not, it's all good. Take whatever we can serve up for you and try to apply it.
Yep, you could join us again next week. Great reason to join us next week is to hear the end of the story.
And every week. All right, so I ran into a guy that listens to our show, and he's on the YouTube channel. We were out at my daughter's cross country meeting. His 2 sons are on the cross country team, and we hadn't seen each other for a while. It was really cool. But he said he was giving it to other people at work. He was, helping him deal with the pressures at work. He was, so it's always good when you have that feedback, from face-to-face live audience members. That was really cool.
Oh yeah. We actually encourage people to share what they know, share what they hear from us. We don't want you to keep this a secret. Now, we do recommend that when it starts getting a little hairy, that you recommend them directly to us for help, because a lot of the things, we do this for a living. So while you may be able to introduce them to the things that we're talking about, we can actually train and coach them and make them more knowledgeable and teach them how to use the things that we're talking about. So, and like, again, build their own process, just like we're helping you build your own process.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so here's the first thing. Now, have you been watching those Peyton Manning on Sunday morning commercials with Lionel
Yes.
Richie? Okay,
I love it.
That's so great. All right, so I love what he calls Eli, and he tells him he's got the package or whatever, and he's like, "Can you come over?" He's like, "No, I'm playing, dude." He's like, "All right, I'll pencil you in for Tuesday," and he writes it in big block letters the whole of Tuesday, right? So now the reason I'm bringing up Peyton Manning because the very first tool for pressure proofing is confidence. It's the number one tool. If you take care of your confidence, you will inoculate yourself against pressure. And I want to start off with this Peyton Manning quote, right? So Peyton Manning said this. He said, "Pressure is something you feel when you don't know what you're doing." Pressure is something that you feel when you don't know what you're doing. So let's look at pressure proofing ourselves and answer this question. How can I be more stress resistant? And if you've ever felt the washing machine effect of life or getting wiped out by a large wave at the beach, that ever happened to you, Dutch?
Yeah, plenty of times.
Getting a riptide or that undertow, they call it on the East Coast.
Oh yeah, as a young man, I definitely felt that more than a few times.
No, what about in life? Have you ever felt that in life?
Yeah, that's what I mean. In life as a young man, before I knew.
Oh, before you knew it, you're right. Okay, I thought you were talking about like you were little at the beach, like you were little. He was little Dutch Coleman running around at the beach, and the undertow got him, and he got sucked.
Oh man, yeah, I'm definitely talking about the undertows of life.
Yeah.
Before you really understand what's going on, before you get your footing, it's just like being on the sand. Before you get your footing, there's a lot of lessons that are taught that you wish you can go back and relearn, and with the skill set that you have today. So yes, I've been.
You've been there. Like so have I. Like I have experienced both, right? The physical wave wiping me out, and that wave of stress or pressure, feeling like it was going to wipe me out. Now, you know that I was. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was actually out in Hawaii, and I learned how to surf out there. Some of the locals took me out, and they taught me how to surf. So, and now a large wave, is usually large waves, sets of waves, and we just saw this last weekend with the hurricane here on the East Coast. That usually a storm from the distance is what's pushing those big waves, and those big waves can either be exhilarating or devastating. Right? I mean, they could be but it's going to be one of the two. It's not just going to be like, there's a wave, It could either be exhilarating or devastating. So in either case, the wave is the same wave. It's the result, right? Mm-hmm. That from the wave, and that result, get ready, buckle up, Dutch. That result depends on each individual.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and the individual's experience, and we're going to get into it, so I don't want to jump the gun, so go ahead.
Okay, right. So, now, if you've ever seen those crazy surfers riding those crazy, like those giant waves, you know which ones I'm talking about? They look like a little speck, and there's this giant wave, and there's just like a little speck near the magazine. And, right, if you ever seen that, I've always wondered, I'm like, man, how can they do that and survive? Well,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. But what they've done since they were little, nobody just starts that. They studied waves. They had mentors that taught them how the waves break, the characteristics of the wave. Do they go to the left? Do they right? Are they a closeout? What their power and their force is, and how to use that force for the exhilarating ride. And now the big wave surfer, once they ride the big wave, they have this supreme confidence in their knowledge, skills, and abilities of how the ocean is.
No question. I mean, even down to the young kids who are learning, they have a certain amount of knowledge in their journey, and they're studying it, man. They can tell you the time, what's going to happen at certain times of the day. They can
tides,
feel the wind,
all that stuff,
everything, man. So it's very impressive. That knowledge is key.
Right. Okay. So, and now these big kahunas, they have enormous respect for the waves and the destructive force that comes behind it. Yet they learn how to ride this thundering power, right? And they bring this thrilling experience that only can be understood by a fellow big kahuna, right? Because I've never been in the 80-foot wave. The biggest I've ever been in is like 26 feet, which is almost like 3 stories up, man.
I've seen it from the beach as a kid in Hawaii. I had an opportunity to be in Hawaii as a kid before I could really enjoy it. But Makapu Beach is a beach in Hawaii.
Yes, it is.
And remember, that was the dangerous beach that they had all the signs up warning people about the size of the waves. So as a kid, I could go, but so far out, but I could still marvel at what the other guys were doing out there further out, man. It was amazing.
It is amazing. Now here's how let's tie it all together, right? So the fastest way to raise your level of confidence is by knowing what you're doing. And the fastest way to inoculate against pressure is by knowing what you're doing is to raise your confidence level. So you got to do the prep time, study.
Mm-hmm.
Do the training, do the work. And I'll tell you, Dutch, I was a Marine grunt, right? They taught me, and you know the story. I was a fat kid in high school. When I went into boot camp, I lost 50 pounds. I'd never fired a weapon. I was a missionary's kid, could never fight back. They gave me firearms training, infantry tactics, hand-to-hand, which is we call defensive tactics in law enforcement. They taught me first aid and buddy aid. They gave me an extremely high level of fitness. And all this training, you know what it did for my confidence level? What did it do, man?
Raise it as high as ever.
Boom. And so we got all these Marines. That's what they do, man. And that's why people are like, oh, Marines are cocky and they're arrogant. No, man, they just have huge levels of confidence because of their training. And we never stop training. We crave more training. We can't get enough training. Now, listen, the same thing held true as my time as a federal agent, right? So I was responsible for the safety and security of some really high-ranking government officials. We like to call them, i.e., targets, right? Because bad guys, the high-ranking officials are targets. They're high-value, high-threat targets. And that required, like, supreme confidence in being able to handle whatever threat popped up. Now, I didn't start out with supreme confidence. What I did, though, Dutch, is I spent hours of my own time beyond the required training. I did my own time reading, studying, watching footage of assassination attempts, watching bombings and the news that came after it and the responses and terrorist attacks and even natural disaster responses, crisis responses. And amazingly, now when stress levels go up and the pressure cooker of crisis starts, I actually get calmer because I know what to do, how to do it, and when to do it because of my confidence level.
Yeah, it's like when you go in and you have that big math test, and the difference between you and your buddy who's just scared to death about it, is worried, and we've all been there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even want to go in there, and then you have days when you have a test and you don't sweat it at all. The difference is your knowledge of the material. When you go in there, you know the material. When you study the material, you go in there like it's nothing. Like, hey, man, I'm good. I got this. I know the material. But when you didn't study, you didn't learn what you're supposed to learn, and you know you can end up guessing, and you're at the mercy of your whatever you believe in, whatever higher being you believe in. You're stressed out. You're worried. You're complaining about the external factors. But the bottom line is you don't know what you're about to walk into. You're not knowledgeable about the subject matter, and that's the real issue.
And when you don't know what you're walking into, it's really, really difficult to be confident and pressure-proof yourself.
Amen.
It's just really difficult. Now, we're coming up on a break, but, we've had clients that, we'll go and we'll talk to, the executive team, and they'll be like, yeah, we don't want to get audited, or, and I'll be like, yeah, no, being audited is the best thing that could ever happen to you. They'd be like, what? Well, it's just like what you said, Dutch. When we get our stuff, so we get our ducks in a line and we're crushing it, I want the audit to come so that they wouldn't look at our stuff and they'll be like, wow, now that is some good stuff right there. In fact, you're the model of how to do it right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's the same thing. Like, I loved being inspected. I loved an inspection. I wanted the, commanding general's inspection, the inspector general, anybody that come look at my stuff, I want you to come look at it. Please come look at my stuff. That's how confident, because I did the prep work, because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. You knew after they saw your stuff, they'd be so impressed, they probably wouldn't bother you anymore because they know what to expect, or they assume they're going to pick on somebody else.
Right. I'll tell you, the first time this happened, I spent so many hours getting my stuff ready. Then they came and they picked up one piece of gear. They looked at it. It was like my rifle was super clean. They look in the one spot where they had nothing, and they're like, "Oh, roger that, you're excellent." And they walked off. I'm like, "Wait, you didn't look at the rest of my stuff. I spent weeks on this, right?" And they just walked off. I was like actually mad because I didn't look at the rest of my stuff. I was like, I'm over prepared. But that is confidence, and you're never sweating it, right?
There you go.
All right, we're up on a break. You're listening to the Get Warrior Tough radio show with Andrew and Dutch, and we will be right back.